Hit that like button. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Do y'all know what time it is? Do y'all really know what time it is? It's time to grab your popcorn, grab your best beverage. It's time to relax your ears. Wrestling season has returned, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
That's right. And it's time for your main event. Coming down the aisle, we have the one, Bobby Wrestles. And he is accompanied by the beautiful Mia Moore. This is the main event. Welcome to the All About Wrestling podcast.
You feel the electric. You feel the electric running through your veins. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's the briefing. I'm back. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here. Tantalizing Tony Fandito. I see you guys. Thanks for stopping in. Today we have a show. Let me sip some water. Mike D, what's up? Mike D. Today I want to talk about something that every wrestling fan should know. What exactly is a wrestling mark? Now, I've been a part of this incredible world for over 30 years, so trust me when I say I know a thing or two about it. Let's dive right in. A wrestling mark is basically a term used to describe someone who is a die-hard fan of professional wrestling. These fans are super passionate about the sport and often have extensive knowledge about the industry. They watch every show, follow every storyline, and know all the ins and outs of the wrestling business. Being a mark isn't just about being a fan. It's also about how you react to the action in the ring. Marks tend to get really invested in the matches and storylines. They might cheer for their favorite wrestler and boo the ones they don't like. They might even get emotional during intense moments or feel genuinely upset when their favorite wrestler loses. All right, but we're going to get deeper. We're going to get deeper because a mark can also be considered a negative term. I told you guys in and out, weeks in, weeks out, months in, months out, that I am an objective wrestling fan. I do not consider myself a mark in any way. It's important to note that being a mark isn't necessarily a bad thing, but perhaps it is. Many wrestling promotions rely on these passionate fans to create an electric atmosphere at their events. You feel the electric just running through my veins, right? They bring out so much energy and excitement to the shows, making them an integral part of the overall experience. However, being a mark does come with its downside. Sometimes, marks can be easily manipulated by the wrestlers and the promoters. They might fall for cleverly crafted storylines and get worked up over scripted rivalries. All right, so we're going to talk about wrestling marks, folks. We're also talking about CM Punk and his potential return to WWE, as well as WWE possibly taking Paris. Hello, and welcome. This is the briefing. I'm your guy, Bobby Wrestles. I see you guys in the chat. Mike D, hello. So we have a lot to talk about. Superfan Johnny's running the chat room. Hello, brother. Thanks for being with us. And let's talk about some wrestling news. Wrestling news is brought to you, of course, by WrestlingOnline.com. Vince McMahon on Saudi Arabia. He states this is our home, WWE's home. Now, if you haven't seen it, TKO chairman Vince McMahon and The Undertaker traveled together to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Saturday for the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight. All right, the two also attended a glitzy pre-show event, and McMahon later took a front row seat next to WWE Hall of Famer Mike Tyson and Eminem. McMahon was walking slowly, and he used a cane due to the recent back surgery that he just had. In an interview with MMA Junkie, McMahon described Saudi Arabia as their home and WWE's home, and both he and Taker put over the kingdom's effort to bring sporting events and entertainment shows back. The reporter also asked Vince about the recent Dana White comments, where White said that Vince tried to fuck him over several times in the past, including giving him cheap seats for WrestleMania. He states, please, I don't do business that way. I don't bust anybody's chops unless they get in the way. But Dana and I do get along very, very well. He's really a good guy. McMahon continued to say that he and Dana are good business partners, and when you're a good businessman, you get along. The Undertaker chimed in and said it's hilarious that both of them are working together now because they're so similar. With the merge of WWE and the UFC under the TKO umbrella, Taker said he's now going to get a lot of good tickets for UFC events. So that's pretty interesting. What are you guys' thoughts? Very interesting to see these two together. Very interesting. All right. Shane's son Declan says he's the likeliest McMahon grandkid to wrestle. Do you guys believe that? In a 25-minute interview with Developmentally Speaking on YouTube, Shane McMahon's son Declan said he's the likeliest of the Vince McMahon grandkids to step in the ring. Declan, whose first WWE appearance came in the opening video of WrestleMania 20 with his father and grandfather when he was still a newborn, said, the story is already written as the rightful heir in the good-looking, sounds like almost like a Game of Thrones, right? The rightful heir. We are such a great family and we're all so supportive of each other, Declan said. So I think really any of us could potentially want to do it. He also added that his cousin Aurora, the oldest daughter of Triple H, and Stephanie has also talked about wanting to be a wrestler. But in having my dad and my grandpa's ego, I think I'd be the best, Declan said. Declan, who was playing for the Indiana Hoosiers football team as a running back, appeared ringside at Fastlane with his teammates. He also touched on his father's rehab progress, saying that it's all going very well, and he's ahead of schedule after completely tearing his quad tendon off the bone at WrestleMania this year. Very interesting, because we remember Vince tore his quads when he tried to get into the ring years ago. Both of them. My dad loves wrestling second to none. He truly cares for the business, but not only for the business. He truly wants to just put on a show for the fans because the fans show him so much love, and it's so rewarding for a lot of those guys to just give to those fans who came to see them, he said. All right, Elimination Chamber. Tickets for Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia will go on general sale Friday, November 10th. That's one day before my birthday, guys. With the pre-sale starting 2 days prior on Wednesday, November 8th. Tickets will be available through ticketmaster.com.au. All right, taking place at the Optus Stadium. Elimination Chamber will be the first WWE premium live event in Australia since 2018. And the only PLE in the Asia Pacific region of 2024. 2024, I think that's a mistake or something, right? Okay. Creed Brothers, if you're excited, they're set for Alpha Academy Open Challenge. Alpha Academy's Open Challenge, Monday Night Raw. All right, if you've seen that, it's very, very interesting, right? MJF and Kenny Omega share a special moment in the ring after collision. And Bryan Danielson, what a tragedy, right? He's out for months with a broken orbital bone. Bryan Danielson is looking at another couple of months on the sidelines after the American Dragon suffered a broken orbital bone during his tag team match this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Danielson will be undergoing surgery to repair it and will be out of the upcoming Full Gear pay-per-view and also the World's Ends pay-per-view at the end of December, targeting an early 2024 return. So unfortunate. He's very, very intense in the ring. And of course, he pays for it. Unfortunately, the former WWE champion took a Rainmaker clothesline and an orange punch towards the end of the match, which left him down and required medical assistance by the ringside physicians. Danielson returned to action early last month after he suffered a broken arm from his match against Okada at Forbidden Door in June. All right, and this has been the Wrestling Online Report. Make sure you get informed, wrestlingonline.com. How we feeling, guys? How you guys feeling? Very excited. Very excited, guys, to be back. Make sure you stay hydrated, all right? We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. WWE taking Paris. All right. Of course, this news broke. I got this information from Fightful. All right. Did you know that the internal schedules of WWE list Paris for early spring 2024 Backlash? Fandito, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm glad I'm back as well. Glad to see you here, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How you been, Fandito? I also think it's a great move. It's a very great move. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. All right, so from Fightful, all right, this is where I got the information. All right, WWE to Paris. Now, let it be known, this will not be the first time WWE has been to Paris, all right? They went back in the 80s, right? I have the information here. October 23rd, 1987. I was a little kid, little boy. And we're at Bercy de Paris. And the main event was Harley Race versus Junkyard Dog. That was the main event. And guess who the special guest referee was? Can you guys figure it out? Do you guys know? Tantalizing Tony, Paris. Special guest referee, Andre the Giant. All right, main event, Harley Race versus Junkyard Dog. All right, that was the main event. What are the potential benefits of WWE going to Paris? Well, there's lots of benefits. All right. We know that any fan, any group of fans outside of the country, they seem to be more passionate, right? Whenever WWE goes to Canada, whenever they go to Canada, the fans are just over the top, crazed fanatics. They're chanting things we've never heard before. There's so much energy and excitement, and it actually makes the show better. Tantalizing Tony says, no benefit for my pocketbook. Oh, you're right. I won't be going to Paris. Of course, I'm going to be watching it. I think one negative connotation regarding WWE premium live events overseas the fact that the time difference. We're all used to pay-per-views being in the evening around 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. Recently, we've seen WWE premium live events at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, like in the early afternoon. That doesn't work for me, all right? I get a lot of stuff done during in the early day. I just want to chill towards the end of the night and watch wrestling, all right? So the times might be a good thing for some, might be a bad thing. The crowds are always better, right? And of course, the international wrestling base, to tap into that, that's always beneficial for any wrestling organization. Always a benefit. So yeah, and that's not all. That's not all. There's going to be lots of other premium live events in reference to WWE. From what I understand, they're doing something in Germany coming up. Fendito says his focus is always on the Nice Guy Andy podcast. All right. So WWE takes Paris. Will that change anything? Will that change your excitement, your interest level? Probably not. You're going to watch it. If you don't watch it, you're going to see what happened on Raw. All right. You're going to see the go home show on SmackDown. All right. So good for them. Very good for them. I do not see this as something that's extremely monumental because they still break the mold. They're going to continue to move into other territories with their brand. As they should. As they should. We currently see WWE with their foot on the necks of AEW. Respectfully, we see that. You know, this is a war that's being lost by AEW. But we're all interested in seeing what happens with the merger. Will there be a difference? We're still waiting for any type of difference. In my opinion, is there a difference? I don't really see a big of a difference at all. So yeah, very interesting. In other news, CM Punk, guys, every so often we talk about CM Punk because the news just doesn't die. It's what you guys want. You guys want to talk about CM Punk. CM Punk going back potentially to WWE. Is it going to happen? Is CM Punk going back home, so to speak? Well, I asked you guys and you answered. 70% of you believe that he will. And while only 31% of you thinks he's not going to. Is it a smart business decision? I think that's arguable. As a businessman, if I'm looking to capitalize, if I'm a capitalist, then yes, I'll sign him. I don't think they're going to have the same problems that AEW had in terms of telling him, you know, this is the way it goes. We're not going to go for this. We're not going to go for that. But who knows? There's always more to the story. We've only got what was given to us from the media, from the fans, right? From everybody else. There's some that believes that CM Punk was not the victim. It's going to be very, very interesting. Bone breaking action. Welcome back. How you doing? But again, the majority of you say yes. We will see CM Punk back in the WWE ring. We all know with that comes devastation, destruction, and turmoil. Not just on the part of the WWE locker room. I'm not trying to be negative here in any way. But I'm talking about in terms of AEW. I mentioned this before. CM Punk gets a chance to do a pipe bomb. If you give him a microphone and you sit him down in the middle of that ring, holy smokes. Holy smokes. Look out, Tony. Because you're going to get it. You're going to get it. And he's probably going to say what the majority of the fans believe you to be, an uninformed mark who does not really know how to book main event wrestlers. It is what it is. Do I still like AEW? Yes, I still like it. Come on. I'm just being fair and objective. You guys know me. There's also some other things floating around in social media, right? There's some things floating around on social media in terms of hints and clues regarding CM Punk potentially returning back to the ring, right? Have you seen the picture? Folks in the chat, have you seen the picture where they have CM Punk? They say that they can see CM Punk in the background of the Crown Jewel poster, right? And his arms are folded, and people believe that that's a hint. That's CM Punk back there. That's his shadow. That's his silhouette. Have you guys seen it? Well, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show you. All right. Here's the image that's floating around. All right, so you see CM Punk at the bottom with his crossed arms, and then you look at the Crown Jewel poster, which is advertised Saturday, November 4th at 1 p.m. There's that 1 p.m. start time. And then there's an image with a red circle around it, which looks like CM Punk's arms folded, his taped arms. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? I'm really interested in seeing what you guys think. Superfan Johnny, you want to call in? It's going to be very interesting, folks. I mean, and you can kind of see it on the other side, on the opposite side. Is WWE messing with us? Are we being over the top? Or is this really a hint regarding CM Punk? First of all, who found this? Are we being wrestling marks? Are we being marks? Do we want to see CM Punk so bad that we're imagining things in the background of premium live event posters? Well, let's get one person's thought. I got on the line Fandito. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hola, amigo.
How
I'm doing
are
fine.
you? It's such an honor having you back on the show. What are your thoughts regarding CM Punk's potential return?
I think that's a great move. I mean, when Punk left WWE, it was bitter grapes and they were having problems. So if he comes back, he can end his story the right way with WWE.
Okay. Do you think in any way it would be detrimental to AEW? And if he does come, how long do you think he will stay?
I think that if it's detrimental to AEW, it's because AEW let themselves get worked. Because we always saw that Tony Khan can get unhinged if his very ratings get strained because he's tweeting so much about stupid stuff a couple weeks ago just because NXT beat them as high ratings for a moment. So I think that if it's detrimental to him, it's Tony Khan's problem. But I do think that Punk will stay with WWE for about maybe 3 or 4 years.
Interesting. I think that's a long time for CM Punk regarding everything that he's been involved in. What are your thoughts regarding Paris? WWE going to Paris. Do you have any outtakes or any information regarding that?
I think that them going to Paris would be a great idea because we ain't had a show in Paris in a while. And them doing Paris, I think that's going to be fantastic.
I agree with you. Lastly, before you go, I wanted to get your take on being a wrestling mark. Are you a wrestling mark? What are your thoughts regarding a wrestling mark? What is a wrestling mark to you?
Well, let me put it inside these terms. A wrestling mark, okay, when it was first derived, it goes way back to the Carney days. When a mark is marked, okay, they take chalk, they put it on their finger, and when they see a guy that has a hefty wallet full of money, they would take their hand and run it across the back of his collar of his suit to let all the people inside the carnival know that guy's the mark, okay? Well, mark, to me, is not always a bad thing because wrestlers started out as marks. So when they make it out to be bad, they basically call themselves bad. To me, a wrestling mark is someone that loves wrestling and is not a smart. Because let's be honest, a smart is worse than a mark. Because a smart tries to act like they know wrestling better than the actual wrestlers, and are the types that will basically be smartasses. To me, a mark is an okay thing. It's okay to be a wrestling mark. Just don't be a smart.
Wow. Very, very interesting. I like your take. You said wrestlers, the people we cheer for and we like and we talk about, they were marks.
That's right.
Superfan Johnny. Guys, if you don't understand or know who Fandito versus Superfly Johnny is, he's a moderator for the All About Wrestling podcast, right? As well, he has his own show, all right?
Yep, with the Knock Game podcast.
That's right. There it is on the screen. Share some information about your show, bro.
And not only am I a part of Knock Game podcast, but recently I've been hosting my own show as a subsidiary of Knock Game podcast. It's called the Ricky Dink Bullshit Podcast, where I host it, and Superfly tends to host it, and also with his co-host, Part of Man Cam. We always go live either on Thursdays or Wednesdays We may start doing a show maybe on a Tuesday. Who knows? Because of what the future holds, the Nice Game Podcast always think of new ways to go.
Bro, always a pleasure having you. You got to send me a banner so we can get that up there, get that information out for you.
I will, brother.
All right, thanks for calling in, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys, Fandito. Guys, make sure you check out the Nice Guy Indie podcast, as well as something I just learned, the Rinky Dink Bullshit podcast. All right, we're going to get a banner from him so we can share and promote that. Are you a wrestling mark? Bone Breaking Action says there's going to be a bed bug invasion angle in Paris. That's hilarious. Folks, are you a wrestling mark? Me, and we all have our own opinions and perspectives, right? For me, I think mark is a negative term. I just do. Only because I consider myself an analyst, a witness, if you will. I'm not truly involved in the sport. However, I sit back, I watch, I take notes, I break things down by way of experience and analysis, right? I interject my opinion rarely to tell you how I think because I am an objectivist, right? I try to be fair. I try to see things on both sides, right? So for some, it can be a negative term. It could be a positive term, right? I think those that believe that it will be a positive term are those that are just really into everything. They love it. They're immersed in professional wrestling. The idea of it, you know, it turns them on. Not in a physical gratification sense, but you know, it does something to them. It changes them. Excitement. I will consider myself a podcast mark, right? Because I get gratification by sitting here behind this microphone and talking about something that I analyze, wrestling. Are you a wrestling mark? That is the question. I asked the universe, do you consider yourself a wrestling mark? Well, 50% said no, 33% said yes, and 17% said somewhat. Does this poll serve as proof that perhaps we don't necessarily know what the term means? Something to think about. Fandito had an extensive history on how marks came about from the Carney days, but is this something that requires more analytics, more thought, more investigation? Is it seen as a negative term? From looking at this poll, I think that the majority might think that being a wrestling mark is a bad thing. But me being objective, whether you're a mark or you're not a mark, I think that's your own preference. I really do. Perhaps the term wrestling mark means something genuine and unique to you. Who knows? I'm just a podcaster that watches wrestling and talks about it. I try to invoke feelings and emotions about wrestling from you to share with the rest of the world. I'm the bridge, all right? The space bridge, if you're a fan of Transformers. We create a doorway and we allow you to walk through it. Superfan Johnny, wrestling mark is a fan. You're a mark of many things you like. How about that? You're probably a mark of video games, YouTube, wrestling, right? But either way, it's a very, very interesting topic that's never going to go away. Is Tony Khan a mark? Who knows? He loves wrestling. He's very passionate about it. Whenever you give him a microphone, he's standing there screaming to the point where you don't even know half the stuff he's saying. Is Tony Khan a bigger mark than Vince McMahon? Or is Vince McMahon perceived as more of a businessman than Tony Khan? Who knows? It's just something to think about. So, folks, I just wanted to stop in and share some interesting topics with you guys, right? Our next show, we're going to talk about Kofi Kingston, all right? This is a preview. Kofi Kingston. Do you guys consider Kofi Kingston, is he worth another solo run? How would a solo run be for Kofi Kingston? Has Kofi Kingston reached the mountain to never return? We're going to break that down. We're going to have the Wrestling Online Report plus other breaking topics in the wrestling world. All right, so guys in the chat, thanks for stopping in. Guys viewing at home, we love you. And we will see you soon, all right? So make sure you keep it locked. Hit the like button, subscribe, all right? And we'll be back soon.